Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. And today we have a returning alumni and good friend, Naomi Grossman. Naomi, thank you for coming on here. Love the artwork in the background. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's always a treat to talk to you, Naomi. You are Class A, just fun person to talk to. And I know we have a limited time, and I want to talk to you because you're always busy and you're always working, and you have some great stuff coming out. Now, your latest release is, let me get this correct, it's a vampire romantic comedy. Now, there's a mixture you don't see very often. It's called Bite Me, and it came out on February 8th on video on demand. You play the character of Chrissy, of course, very fun, energetic. So tell us about this movie, and for fans wishing to see it, tell them what it's all about.
It was a good pitch. It's a vampire rom-com, a love story between a real life vampire and the IRS agent that audits her. Uh, when I say real life vampire, I mean this is not like some mystical being that only goes out at night. These are actual real people that live in New York and everywhere else in the world, apparently. But in this movie, they're in New York. These are folks who claim that they get their energy from blood.
And that's what I
And
love about this film. It's because the fact, and it's very well explained early on in the film, where the people they come across on social media and on the streets of New York, the coffin mystique, and do you come out at night and haunt people? I love the fact that they took the vampire mythology and they made them regular people just needing to drink blood to survive.
yeah, Naomi McDougall Jones, who wrote this, and she also plays Sarah,
Yep.
the star of the film. Um, I guess she was working on the show Boardwalk Empire, and she
Mm-hmm.
got to talking to one of the background extras, who told her she is in fact a vampire. She actually does this. She
Yeah.
drinks blood for energy, and I mean Naomi just was like, what? Like, tell me more. Fell down kind of a YouTube rabbit hole researching. And yeah. And then, like I said, it was sort of one of those fish out of water stories where she was like, what would be the oddest possible arrangement? The craziest couple ever. And that's when she, paired her with an IRS auditor. But it makes sense, because these vampires have started a church,
Mm-hmm.
the House of Twilight,
Mm-hmm.
of which I am the sort of
The
the
leader.
firebrand leader.
Yeah.
Chrissy, I'm of course her roommate, but kind of the boss of the show.
You're sort of like
And
the matriarch.
yeah, but we're being audited because we've got all these expenses, and we've got an expensive New York apartment to write off, and the IRS wants to know all about this church.
And take off.
And it works out for Chrissy.
Exactly. IRS, church, tax exempt status. That's how those two meet, and it takes off from there. You have some hysterical scenes in the movie itself. I found it was very enjoyable. Uh, how did the script come your way?
Naomi McDougall Jones actually wrote the role with me in mind,
Nice.
which is really flattering. Yeah, I mean, for a long time, no one even wrote a post-it note for me, so I was really, I, I mean, the script held up on its own, but then when she killed me with these compliments, that sealed the deal. They did a lot of table reads in New York before I was involved,
Mm-hmm.
and Naomi kept getting the note, the Chrissy character isn't quite working, and Naomi always said, no, it's because Naomi Grossman isn't playing her yet. So that was again very flattering. Although I was nervous, like, well, what if I can't live up to this idea of, Naomi Grossman, like whatever that is. And I mean, but at the same time, like if I can't pull off Naomi Grossman, then who can?
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, your character is very fun. The whole environment is very fun. You guys shooting in New York City, which is my old stomping ground. I love that. Uh, is this the first kind of romantic comedy slash vampire horror that you've ever done? Because there are
I mean,
not that
it's
many out
very
there.
specific.
Yeah,
It's
it's
definitely
not
the
that many
only
out there.
vampire horror I've done. I want to say I did a zombie prior, which is also, a kind of a comedy with a little slight horror, a tinge of horror.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, no, there haven't been a lot of rom-coms out there
No.
lately. Like, since Nora Ephron died, we haven't seen much of anything like that.
And we're used to seeing you doing a lot of dark stuff, especially in the American Horror Story franchise with Penny, and then you revised the role in American Horror Stories, playing the one eyed, I guess, protester that your character, it didn't end up well for you. So, was
Yeah.
this a nice change of pace for you? How do you feel going into the comedic world and doing something lighthearted?
Well, it was nice because what people don't know about me is that I actually come from comedy. I mean,
Oh,
no one knows that because no one saw that.
no.
But for many, many years prior to American Horror Story, I was at the Groundlings, which is a comedy theater in Los Angeles, where, Will Ferrell, Lisa Kudrow, Phil Hartman, Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. I mean, you name it. Everybody on SNL. It's like an SNL factory. And that was my home for 6 years. Apart from that, I have a couple one woman shows that are primarily comedic, which I've, toured around the world. I have what at one time was a very active YouTube channel, all kind of comedy shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So this was my chance to like really marry my two loves, and comedy being my love, and then horror what that loves me.
Exactly. Horror adopted you.
Yeah, I listen. I don't dislike horror by
No,
any
no.
means, but I definitely fell down a horror hole. Like I wasn't looking for it.
Yeah. It sort of came to you. Now, you're not just an actress. You are very busy in and around entertainment. You've done a lot of producing. Let's see, in 2019, Portal. You've done a lot of producing. As your career is progressing, do you is your passion to stay in front of the camera, or do you want to start doing a lot more stuff behind the camera?
I mean, it's to be in front of the camera. I in the historically when I have produced, it's because it's just it's a means to an end. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't I've needed to produce in order for it to get done. And so it's not that I'm trying to be a producer. I mean, in the case of Portal, honestly, I think the producer credit allowed me to be paid what I was worth.
Absolutely.
And but in the case of like say my solo shows, which I produced, that was just a labor of love, which it wasn't going to get done unless I did it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm have a little bit more of a name for myself, I'm hoping to not have to be that person. That said, I'm not bad at it. Like I'm
No.
pretty good. I kind of get stuff done, and that's the producer's job. So I have had the kind of underhanded compliment. Oh my gosh, you're a better writer than actor. And
That's
I'm
what I
like,
was going to ask next. How about your writing? You've written a lot of shorts and whatnot. Where does writing fit into the picture?
well, they're not wrong. I'm a good writer, and I don't mean to like give myself props for
No,
that.
no, no.
But I think we're not used to actors with brains. For the most part, actors gotta look good, and just hit your marks and, don't be late. And, so the fact that I'm actually an actor, like with a brain, yeah, yeah, I can write too.
A lot of
So
actors come in, like you said, do their work, and then it's off to the producers, and then move on to the next thing. When you get involved in a role in a character, is that how you work, or do you like to be more involved in the development of the character you're going to play, and so on?
I mean, I want to delve in as deep as I can be. You don't always get all that. There's not always a ton of time or info. I mean, I've like there was the American Horror Story Apocalypse. My role switched overnight. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
cast in what looked like one role. I Googled it. Turns out it was a real life Satanist from history. I got all excited. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do this lady. Like just like I did Schlitzie as Pepper, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do whatever her name was. I don't remember now. Then I went to the fitting and they're like, oh, no, 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 no. You're not gonna be her. We'd have to fit you for prosthetics. You'd be like 95 years old right now and you're not, and we're not going to do that.
Oh, what a bummer!
So you're just a random Satanist from history now. So it was like, oh, okay. But at the same time, then I had the freedom to do really whatever I wanted. So I can't remember what the question was and how I came to answer it that way, but
Well, let's move on to the next question. Your
sure.
writing, what do you like to focus on when it comes to writing? Is there a specific genre that you like to write about?
Yes, and it's embarrassing. I like to write about myself. No, I'm not kidding. I am like the Taylor Swift of comedy, or like a solo performance. I'm single, and for whatever reason, I attract the freaks. Like even before Freak Show,
Mm-hmm.
I did a one woman show called Carnival Knowledge, which was all like basically chronicled my misadventures dating in Los Angeles.
And that's a
And
theater
believe me,
show, right? That's a
yeah, it was
theater.
a theater show.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a whole menagerie of freaks. And sadly that was 10 years ago, but there's still I'm not done. Like I'm still single. I'm still meeting crazies like I can't get away. Part of me is like, is it me? Because I'm the one common denominator here. But yeah, the fact is I am a person who I like a good story. I'm a raconteur, and there's every now and then I'll find myself in a situation where I realize like I could go right, and that would be like the normal thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
The good, easy, predictable way to end the story. Or I could do a total like flip a bitch and like turn left and like see where this adventure goes. And that is invariably always the direction I go. It's also probably the reason I'm, again, still single, childless, like, there's a lot of, like, I don't have the 2.5 kids and a golden retriever and with the yard, like, but I have an interesting life and it is
uh,
never boring. And I really believe that, I mean, I'm just to give you an idea, I remember once being um pulled over for jaywalking, and lied to the cop about my identity because you don't need a ID to cross the street. So
exactly.
I told him I didn't have a license, which was a lie, of course. But anyway, the point is, I did this whole thing because I wanted to see how it would end. And later, I contacted my cousin, who's a lawyer, who's like, it's gonna end with you in jail. You're an idiot. Like you crossed the street illegally, no big deal. You lied to a cop. Like it's a felony. So I know for myself, like I just kind of want to see how things end. So there part of me is very Chrissy. Like I got cojones on me, and
Leave it up
I
to you to get pulled over for jaywalking. I've
oh
all
yeah,
that
3 times.
3 times. That's just ridiculous. Now you have a big theater background. How important was that to where you are today?
Oh, I think it was very instrumental. Uh, I mean, I mean, theater is my love. That's my first love, and I prefer it even to film and TV. But uh, the pay is infinitely better in film and television.
Oh yeah.
Um, I like as many eyeballs on me as possible, and obviously you can only fit so many in a theater as opposed to
Film
film
or
and
TV.
television, which
Yeah.
is there's no limit. And well, frankly, I prefer sunny Los Angeles to freezing cold slash excruciatingly hot New York.
Ah,
So there you go.
I'm a New Yorker. You just stabbed me in the heart.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not saying I don't love New York. I'm just saying I don't love like February right now. You are
Well,
freezing
we're freezing our
outside,
ass off right now.
and we are at the beach.
So it has nothing to do with the hustle and bustle of like downtown Manhattan where the world is moving at 100 miles per hour and you prefer the slow suburban because LA is not the suburbs, obviously, but it's
I wouldn't say slow suburban. I mean, I'm in the heart of it.
yeah,
I know what you mean. It's no, you're right. Like I don't. This is not Midtown Manhattan.
no.
This is West Hollywood is hardly Tribeca. However, I'm just referring to the ability to stroll outside like in flip flops in February.
It
That's
does,
it.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter what time of the year you can go out, shorts, t-shirt. I get you. I understand. Uh, how do you feel that your career is American Horror Story has put you on the map forever? You know, the character of Penny, who you have pictures of in your background. Do you love Penny? I mean, has Penny become a part of you?
Well, yeah, I have to correct you. It's Pepper.
Pepper. I'm sorry. I
No,
keep
it's okay.
freaking
But
screwing that
Penny
up.
was a different character because
Yes.
American Horror Story fans are meticulous. They know their facts,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
they'll be like, "Penny, Penny was played by Grace Gunner, Meryl Streep's daughter." So yes,
So how do you feel with
Pepper.
Pepper?
I mean, I love her. She bought me this house, which is no small thing, in West Hollywood. It's almost as expensive as Midtown Manhattan or Tribeca. So, no, I mean, that's why she gets her own room. And yeah, I mean, she's so special.
And working with Ryan Murphy, would you say you and Ryan Murphy have become close over the years?
I mean, he's like an icon. He's kind of the Wizard of Oz. Not that he's not real,
Oh yeah, I know.
but you know what I mean. He's
Yeah,
like this mystical. um, uh, I mean, close. That's
he does. He just does so many things, so many
yeah. I
projects
mean,
at
I think that's
once.
hard to. Who knows? I'm sure probably Sarah Paulson can say that. Maybe Evan Peters, but the fact is he's just doing so many things. I mean, what isn't he producing right now? And so, getting close. Like we're obviously close enough that he keeps calling me, and that's what matters.
Exactly. You are a part of the American Horror Story, now stories family forever. Speaking of stories, you were in an episode. How do you feel about the spinoff? Do you like the concept of what they did instead of a season anthology, an episodic anthology?
Yeah, I mean, it's yet another Ryan Murphy show for me to potentially star on. So I'm thrilled with it. I think the idea is really fun. I think, kind of like American Horror Story, it was like if you didn't like a season, meh. wait for next year. Like, no big deal. Like, if you don't like an episode, you can watch next week. No big,
Exactly.
it's less of an investment, and so yeah, I think it's fun. Like I said, some of the episodes I like better than others. I personally, of course, I'm biased, but I quite like my episode. But
Which you
it
got
was
to work
also,
with Adrian Barbeau. That must have
yes,
been a treat.
totally. Also, Eduardo Sanchez, who is the he directed the original Blair Witch Project.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's huge. So yeah, it was very special. It was fun to be, back, but in like a different context. People would ask me like, "Oh, is this your fourth season then?" And I was like, "This is the first season." But they're right. Like, it's all one family. It's
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, since the horror community has embraced you, and you know how devoted the horror community is with the people they embrace, they've embraced you. They love you. You're part of the horror family. Moving forward in acting, beyond horror, what is it that you would like to do acting wise that you have not had a chance to do yet?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, first off, I should say I want to be like a Betty White. Like, I want to be 99 years old, and
And still acting.
acting,
Yeah.
still at it. Yeah. So, and I'm going to need to be, because I've got so much I want to do, and I'll start here. I want to be I don't know if you're familiar with the Spanish filmmaker Almodovar.
No.
He's a total auteur. Granted, if you're not familiar with, like, Spanish cinema, maybe less on your radar, but he's done, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. I mean, he's yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the foreign film section at your video store and go to town. I would love to be a creature on Guillermo del Toro's one of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out Mikey Hill, who's a makeup artist who does all of his creatures, actually is partially responsible for me being cast as Pepper. So I got a little bit of an in. I'd love for one of my one woman shows to be adapted as a scripted series a la Fleabag. I would love to be in a long running series like Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Where, where I get to really sink my teeth into these characters and live with them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly a series like that, which is like, it's a comedy one year and then it's a drama the next. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a dramedy. It's big over the top characters, but living like really grounded, real pathos. I would love to play some real life characters. I'd love to do like Gilda Radner, she has, again, that duplicity. She does like hilarious sketch comedy, but she's also, had cancer and like an eating disorder and like had some real drama in her life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to play Hillary Clinton. I'd love to play Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, these are women with like darkness and secrets and pathos. I like, yeah.
That is so awesome. We're out of time. I know you have another commitment. Just one last question. You've done voiceover work as well. Do you enjoy doing voiceover?
I haven't done as much as I would like. It's a hard gig to get, quite honestly. I think just everybody wants to work in their jammies. So, people are willing to work for very little, like big names are yeah. I do quite like it. I haven't done as much as I'd like. I did some voices for the Mafia game last year. There was the new, Definitive series or something, which was fun. I played like a Chicago house, a mob wife. I got to get thrown out of a car, going 5 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. It's fun to
You
to
do,
do that. Like you're literally like having to imagine like, oh, how would you scream going, 10 miles an hour more.
you do that New York accent pretty well. Pretty well. I got to give
Well,
you
that was
props.
supposed to be Chicago, but I can do it in New York.
You do it pretty well. Naomi, thank you so much, guys. The movie's called Bite Me. It's available on your video on demand platform of choice. It's a romantic comedy vampire movie. Check it out. Naomi's a blast. The movie's a blast. You'll definitely enjoy it. Naomi, thank you so much for being our guest. I'm sure you'll be back on sometime in the near future again. Thank you to our audience. On behalf of Naomi Grossman and myself, stay safe and stay walking. Good night, everybody.